Grand Rising. This video is going to be about how to detach from a soul tie. So what is a soul tie? See, a soul tie is when two individualistic souls tie their experiences, these spiritual experiments together. AKA, these two spirits are in a relationship. But of course, only thing is, there's a whole lot of pent up energy behind these two individuals. So of course, being that they was in a relationship, you have good relationships, you have bad relationships. And of course, all relationships go through circumstances and situations of sinking or swimming. When something is sinking, that means it's going down. And of course, the location is going down. It's good and bad because, of course, you need experiences in order for you not to repeat experiences. So always appreciate every experience that you will come across. But of course, when it comes down to circumstances and situations, when you're in a circumference with somebody, it's all about leaving at peace. Because what happens when you don't leave something at peace, it gets rotten. It gets dirty. It gets too much muddy. And when things get too muddy, when things get too nasty, and of course, that's when chaos and corruption start to basically emit. And of course, you bring this with you. So this goes into all elements. Put too much passion into something. And of course, it didn't come out how you expected it to come out. So what happens is, this puts you in a circumstance situation of being angry because your fire got put out. And what happens when your fire get put out? You always going to come to the agreements of frustration. And what happens when you put too much frustration into something? You can explode. A circumstance situation can explode. And you don't want to explode. Only time you want to explode when you're rising above something. But of course, when you put too much feelings and emotions into something, you start to drown. You get too fixated into that shit. You get too stubborn. You don't know how to move on. There's too much attachments. There's too much ties. And what happens when you put too much feelings into something? It starts to get heavy. And what happens when you put too much heaviness into water? The water carries too much. And of course, water is very important. You need water to be free. Because of course, if you're a soulistic being, how are you going to be able to fly free when you got too much stuff on you and you got too much weight on you? You got too much obstacles. You can't move. You got to learn how to replenish those. And of course, you need fire to burn that rock, burn them bricks. But of course, if you ain't got the fire, the water ain't gonna have the fire, and of course the experience is gonna be very devastating. And of course, when it comes to soul ties, you need to detach your mind frame. Because of course, when you keep thinking about things, you think these things into existence. You think these things into reality. And when things get thought into existence, it starts to play with you. And of course, when things play with your mind, it's gonna play with your heart. Because of course, it's going to come down to density. It's going to come down to earth. It's going to come down to your reality. And of course, what you're paying attention to, you're always going to get back. What you pay your mind to, you always get back. Be very careful what you pay and give your attention to. All the shit out here is ready to drain and take your energy too. And of course, when we're talking about a soul tie, these are two spirits that's tied up into the same circumstances and situations previously when they were together or when they dealt with each other. And of course, it's going to be very hard to move on if you have a soul tie. You keep dreaming about somebody. Y'all have too many experiences. One person don't know how to let go. One after the other. Get out of control. Gets too discombobulated. So, basically, that's what you don't want. That's like trying to move on in life, but you keep experiencing the same experiences. And of course, with a soul tie, very important to basically get rid of a soul tie. Because if you don't get rid of a soul tie, you bring the same baggages, the same parasites, the same drama, the same experiences in between your new relationships, And of course, if you got too much baggages, your room is too full, too much dresses. How you gonna bring in a new relationship? How you gonna bring in a new dresser if you got too much garbage and too much junk inside this room that you're trying to bring in? It's like trying to mix fresh fruits with brews, and of course, dirty fruits. You can't do that. Things gonna get chaotic. Things gonna get out of control. It's like trying to mop a clean floor, but you bringing dirty mop water from yesterday. Don't do that. So of course, I'm about to show you and explain to you how you break a soul tie. When it comes down to breaking a soul tie, you, as an individual soul, as an individual spirit, you have to come to the terms and conditions and agreements of, I am going to release this person, this place, this thing, this circumference out of my space. And of course, any attachments, any things that you have, any belongings, you need to let these things go. Because when you let them go, you basically allow yourself to be free. And of course, you free yourself up to have more room and more experiences of new experiences, not the same experiences from previously, to come into your space. And then of course, once you let the other person know that you are completely done with them, and of course, this is you making your confirmation. This is you signing your signature. This is you signing your documents. And of course, putting your papers in. Retirement. So of course, once you retire from something, you're not a part of it anymore. You can come visit. You can greet it. You can say hello to it. But you're not in that circumference. You did your spiral. You did your space, your 360. You got up out of that. And of course, what happens when you leave something? What happens when you leave out of town and go somewhere else? You went to a new land, a new experience. That means you're not associated or affiliated with that person, place, or thing anymore. So once you make that agreement of telling that person that you're done with them, or telling that person that you're not with this clique anymore, you have just basically got yourself out of a soul tie. And of course, once you do this, it's up to the other person to understand. Just like that movie, The Panelists, when Son was a Jew, and of course, he was about to kill him, but he had on a different coat. He got himself out of that soul tie. He's not claiming that religion anymore. Even though that's a part of his blood domain, he's not a part of that anymore. So of course, he got out of that circumstance situation. So them Germans ain't kill his ass. So that's the same circumstance situation that you need to apply when you're basically trying to break soul ties with somebody. If you officially done with this person, you let them know. And of course, that's you leaving the circumference. And of course, burning a picture, burning something that you have closely reminded with them, a picture, anything, any connection, clothes. That's how you basically break the soul tie. And of course, if that person's still not trying to let go, then guess what? That person is going to be suffering. That person is not going to be able to move. That person is going to be stagnated because he or she is living in that experience. You're not in that experience anymore. So basically, you got out of that shit fast. So therefore, them soul ties and them connections can't really harm you anymore. That's basically how you break a soul tie. Feel me? And that's it. And that's all. I will always end things on a positive note, because when you end things on a positive note, you ain't got nothing else to worry about. For me, you can sleep good at night.